Y'all know Keith Lee. The man has 16 million followers on TikTok. He does food and restaurant reviews, and he can literally change a restaurant owner's life with one review, which he does all the time, actually. But you want to talk about fumbling a bag? This restaurant owner chose to be greedy and not only fumbled a bag, but fumbled the Keith Lee effect. I'm Jew, welcome to the channel. Please like the video and sub. Right now, we're talking about how one selfish, greedy decision ruined this restaurant owner's business. So let's get into it. Lately, Keith Lee has been touring the country doing food reviews on restaurants, food trucks, etc. If you remember, he caused a big stir a few months ago for giving bad reviews to a few restaurants in Atlanta. But since then, he's continued to review in different states. Keith Lee has gotten so popular at this point that he doesn't even go to the restaurant himself. He usually lets his family pick up the food to avoid any preferential treatment and give a fair, honest review. If he likes the food and gives a good review, the restaurant blows up instantly. Lines around the corner, it's getting covered by media. I mean, a good review from Keith Lee can really change the life of a struggling restaurant owner, which is why it's called the Keith Lee effect.
It's been 4 days since the Keith Lee effect here happened. Now, I promise you, I think they bought the paint off the wall.
Overnight, a business owner can go from struggling to having lines around the corner and more money than they ever dreamed of. And we've seen it over and over. It's been on TikTok all over the place, and media has picked it up. So recently, Keith Lee was in Dallas, and that's where this story picks up.
Keith Lee is officially in Dallas. I asked him for help and come to visit my mom's food truck to hopefully turn it around. She is an award-winning pastry chef, and she is a culinary chef. She has 2 degrees. We are just from Milwaukee, and here in Dallas, it's kind of hard with the marketing because we don't know our way even around yet.
You know, it's funny. Everything starts off great. The son comes off really passionate and humble and really wants the best for his mom. It kind of reminds me of a bar rescue episode where somebody's saying how much they love a bar and how great it is. Can John Tapper please come help because the bar is struggling? If you didn't know, Bar Rescue is one of my favorite shows. But that's really how this video starts off. And again, the son comes off super likable and humble, and you can kind of understand them relocating to start a business and might be struggling. And he knows a good review from Keith Lee will make her business a success overnight. The food truck is called Sweetly Seasoned.
Well, we here. I got it. Let's try it and rate it 1 to 10.
Keith Lee actually then goes on to pull up to the restaurant, get the food secretly, and does a review of the food that has 6 million views on TikTok, which is crazy. That's a restaurant that was struggling that now has 6 million eyes on it. He then goes on to give a really good review about the food.
He spent $80.11. We are in North Dallas, Texas. They outside cutting hair, doing braids, waiting on us. They both on live at the same time, him and his sister, but they outside ready, so we had to be 00 this whole time. I'm talking about 007 agents.
Keith Lee then goes on to explain how they basically were waiting for him to pull up, so he had to be extra secretive about getting his food to make sure that's the same service that any other customer would get.
The customer service, my family said, was pretty good, and it was on live the whole time, so we can kind of see it. The only thing is, the only person cooking is the mama, so if you do come, please be patient. It's only one person there cooking, but it's a lot of people, so she got the option to have a lot of hands.
Keith Lee gives them credit for good customer service and even tells people if they do pull up, please be patient because the mother is the only one in the food truck actually cooking the food. By this point, he knows if he recommends a business, they instantly get swamped, which is a positive problem.
I'm gonna show you everything I got and we're gonna try it and rate it 1 to 10. A pulled pork sandwich, fried ribs with french fries, jerk chicken tacos with beans and rice, and 2 orders of banana pudding. Is this $80 worth of food? In my opinion, no.
But considering the fact that it's been slow and she has an overhead, the fact that this is a food truck and everything is made to order, I understand.
Keith is such a nice guy. He even says something that I guess you can be considered as negative by saying, oh, that food wasn't worth $80. He then goes in to whisper justifications for why the food would be upcharged so much, which is basically the restaurant is struggling, etc., etc. I mean, you can see the whole food review on his TikTok. He basically goes through every item that he showed at the very beginning and eats it, which is making me hungry at this point, and just talks about the quality of the food. But again, he leaves a really good review for the food truck.
I don't know where she got these ribs from. Look how much meat is on that rib. In my opinion, I would take a lot of the sauce off because it don't need it. The rib by itself is very flavorful, it's crispy, it's meaty. The ribs with the sauce as is, I'm gonna go with 7 out of 10. But I feel like if she take this sauce off, This can be an 8.5. One of the main things I will say, in my opinion, the marketing does need a lot of help. There's no menu on the brother's page, on the sister's page, or the mom's page. I feel like a menu with prices should definitely be top priority. That and a website change, in my opinion.
Keith then goes on to give a few business tips, like updating the website, showing the menu with prices on the website and on the different pages that they're promoting it, which I mean is cool.
I appreciate the invite. And mama, you might need some more hands back there. No promises. It might get a little crazy.
So this right here is actually where the video gets crazy. As Keith said at the beginning of his video, they had people out there cutting hair, they had somebody out there braiding hair, and then they had the food truck serving the food.
Before we left, we went in and had a conversation with the mom, and we thanked everybody for having us. Me and the mama prayed together, and we left with a $4,000 tip behind. God, it's amazing.
I appreciate y'all for having us. I see y'all giving out haircuts and doing braids. So we want to leave $1,000 to the barber so he can cut everybody hair for free. We want to leave you $1,000 to fix that hair. We want to leave you $2,000. Yeah, that's it. So until you start my barber for $4,000, and y'all give me however y'all feel. I appreciate it. Absolutely.
May he continue to bless you.
After enjoying the food and making his positive review in the car, he goes out to the food truck owner and talks to her. He says he's giving her a $4,000 tip. That's $2,000 for her, $1,000 for the hair braider, and $1,000 for the barber. Now, those weren't just tips for tips, like you did a good job, here's $2,000, $1,000, $1,000. It was basically like paying it forward. Like, here's $2,000 for the food truck, so everybody behind me, basically until the rest of the day, should be able to eat free. Here's $1,000 for cutting hair or braiding hair. Please just take care of everybody else that comes and don't charge them. So again, he tipped a total of $4,000, $1,000 to the barber, $1,000 to the braider, and $2,000 to the food truck. And again, we really have to put this in perspective. He's going above and beyond to be generous. His review alone with 6 million views is going to have that parking lot flooded with customers. So to give money on top of that, it's just amazing to the people that's actually out there working. But this is where the greed kicks in and the bag gets fumbled. The food truck owner never paid the barber or the braider the $1,000 tips. How do we know? Because the sister of the barber who was helping out in the food truck made a video about it.
I see y'all giving out haircuts and doing braids.
My little brother, yeah.
So we want to leave $1,000 to the barber so he can cut everybody.
Oh, that's my little brother. He went to go pick up my baby brother from school.
We want to leave you $1,000 to cut hair. We want to leave you $2,000.
And granted, everything was cool, right? Me being me and thinking everybody else is going to have the same genuine heart as me, I charged him $4,000 on his car, meaning all the money went to the food truck in hopes that she would do what she needed to do, right? Wrong. So after everything had died down, mind you, on top of him tipping $4,000, this man left an extra $886 to feed everybody else that was coming, right? Right.
So based on the sister's video, not only did Keith leave $4,000 as tips, but he also left an additional $800 just for the food truck to pay for anyone else's food.
But this is where she went wrong. I'm in the truck, mind you, I'm a worker. This is your business, so I'm doing what you say. She tell me after this person, which is a third person, that you got to start charging again.
And the food truck owner almost immediately started charging customers again for food.
Right? She told me, she said, look, I just want to let you know it'll be about a day or two before you guys get your money. I work with Square. I've been running my business for the past 4 years with Square, so I know exactly how it works. But if you've been running this business for years, your money gonna clear the next day, correct? She called me and she was just like, well, I didn't invite your brother to come out there and cut hair. I didn't invite you. My son invited you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give $1,000 to my son and he'll give y'all whatever it is he see fit out of there. Hold on, ma'am. Hold on. I told you to keep my money, but I was more so pressed about the issue of my brother. Keith Lee don't know my brother. My brother don't know Keith Lee. My brother don't know any of y'all out here.
Of course, after the sister exposed what was going on, this caused immediate backlash for the food truck as people started boycotting the food truck and leaving bad reviews. And so the food truck owner basically started coming up with reasons or justifications as to why she wasn't paying the braider or the barber, that they weren't her employees, they didn't work for her, they were her son's friends, and basically she was keeping all the money for herself.
I don't think I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong, I want Keith Lee to tell me, after him knowing the truth now, if that man tell me to give them the money, I'll give it to him. If he tell me to give them that money, knowing that they was not with me, and And just to let y'all know, she's a scammer.
This woman basically had $5,000 dropped on her lap with other people in the area basically helping build the event or bring people out, because I would assume the barber or braider was also promoting that area or event that day, and she chose not to pay the money that wasn't even hers in the first place. It's nothing but greed, and it really ended up biting her in the butt. And honestly, if this is how the lady felt when Keith was standing there talking to her, saying that he was giving her $4,000, $2,000 to be given to two other people that were there working, she should have taken the time to explain that they aren't her customers, that he would have to pay them directly. But for her to actually act like she was accepting that payment on behalf of all of them, just to turn around and not pay anybody, is super shiesty. So of course, Keith Lee responded addressing the drama in a video that has more than 16 million views. So ouch.
To be honest, there's not much to talk about, but there are a few conflated and confused things that's going around about the situation. So let's talk about them. 3 days ago, me and my family went to Sweetly Seasoned Food Truck. Number one, nobody had any idea we was coming. So in hopes of us coming, they had t-shirts made and they was on live all day. So me and my family wasn't in cahoots with none of this. We was all under the impression that they were a team and this was a normal routine for them. The barber being there, the braider being there, family being there, a lot of people being there. This is our first time here. We are customers. We have no idea what's going on behind the scenes. Number two, I was never under the impression that haircuts was free. Again, my family was watching the lives. We knew that he was cutting hair for $40. So when we walked up and I said I want to get his $1,000 to the barber to do free haircuts and $1,000 to the braider to braid hair, it was because in the original video, the son said it was slow due to marketing. That's marketing. And the reason why I didn't pay everybody individually, the interaction that you see looked longer than what it was. It was really only like a 5-minute interaction. Within that 5 minutes, 30 to 40 people pulled up. They was pulling up in droves. That parking lot was getting deep fast. And for me and my family's safety in general, I don't never carry cash around. And 9 times out of 10, if we tip, we always do it through the POS system.
I mean, honestly, there's really not much he had to respond to or say. Keith Lee didn't do anything wrong with how he paid the tips. It looks like one big family business or event. So he paid the person that seemed like she was in charge and just trusted her to disperse the money how it was supposed to go. And look how this lady fumbled the bag and blocked her blessings. Before Keith even left, the parking lot was filling up with customers.
The last thing I'm gonna touch on is the son is misconstruing something that I said, and I don't appreciate it. After I said out loud in detail what we deemed the money to be used towards, I also said y'all can divvy it out how y'all feel necessary. Meaning, after the money hits, because it's a POS system, it don't hit the same day. Y'all can send it out through Apple Pay, through Zelle, through Cash App, through check, through cash, however y'all feel necessary to spread it amongst the team.
Keith also cleared up how the money was supposed to be divvied up. And again, the only discretion he left to her was how she was going to pay the people, not if.
I thought and I still think that that's a very clear statement, but it's being misconstrued, in my opinion, intentionally misconstrued, that I said and the mom and the son can say who get the money and who don't get the money.
So Keith Lee did tell her to distribute the money how she felt necessary.
I never said that. Regardless of what was going on behind the scenes, I felt on my heart to do what we did. So for the mom to go on the back end and disregard where my heart was at and what I felt like God was telling me to do in that moment and distribute the money how she felt necessary is 100% wrong in my opinion.
The fact that the son is sitting here being antagonistic and super defensive when we saw him earlier basically begging Keith Lee to give his mom's food a review is just kind of unforgivable. Although the situation is shiesty and shouldn't have happened, I feel like the mom and son really could have addressed it differently. They could have simply come out and said they messed up, it was a mistake, paid the people what they were owed, and really just been apologetic and thankful to Keith Lee for the review in the first place and moved on. And I feel like this wouldn't have blown up as much as it did. But then when people come out making videos, misconstruing words or changing the context of which something was said, that forces Keith to have to respond. And once you get on his bad side, the internet is going to kind of shut you down.
I decided to close down early. It was like 3 hours and no one came.
Anyway, talk about one of the biggest fumbles of all time. There it goes. So thanks for watching. Y'all let me know in the comments. Do you think she was wrong for keeping all the money even though she was back there doing all the work by herself? Especially with the braider and barber not being connected to her. If there's anything else you want to see me do a video on, please leave it in the comments or you can email me. The link is in the bio. Please make sure you check out the next video. Thanks for watching. Peace.